Most people manifest their fears because they're putting out their fears, and they're putting it out in a strong way, and they're putting it out continuously, and that's how manifestation works. So most people manifest their failures through their fears.
Right.
To truly manifest anything in life, you have to have a single-pointed mind that keeps that object in focus and that desire in focus, and you have to back it with a certain amount of energy, and you're drawing it in then. But most people don't have the ability to do that, except with fear, because they keep being frightened, so they keep manifesting what they don't want. Hello.
Good morning or good afternoon.
Is it afternoon where you are?
It is actually morning. It is 1 a.m.
1 a.m. Yeah, right now it's in the afternoon here at 1 p.m. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
Well, I want to say that I am extremely grateful that you accepted this invitation to have this conversation, and I'm a bit nervous, so just forgive my nervousness.
Okay.
Well, I would like to start this with saying just a little bit about myself. Well, my name is Rodica and I live in Romania. And um, I have a very simple life and many children, I might say. And I've always had this interest in what is more to what we perceive with our senses. And how can we be? And so I would love to address some questions. And, you know, when I had this vision, well, within my meditation, I had this knowing that I am to create a film, let's say, documentary, um, entitled I Am the Key. So I feel that there is so much underlying I am that the, the I am that I am that we just don't understand. So I would love to ask you, what is your opinion on what is fundamental to our experience, to life, to existence?
And so when I talk, I only talk about my own personal experience. And in this moment, I can see you, and I can hear you, and Tosh is here, and other people are here. I'm on camera, and this is one world. But I also am in another world right now, the world of beingness, the world of our true nature, which is the vast universe of everything. And I am experiencing that at this moment also. Commonly called Satori, but for me it's ongoing because enlightenment occurred 26 years ago. And so I live in two worlds. I live in your world, which is the world of thoughts and the world of visuals, and I live in the world of beingness, which some people call God, because it is everything. But you can't describe it because there's no reference points to describe it. There's no reference points in beingness. So I'm in two places. When I shut my eyes, this world that you live in goes away completely, and I'm just the universe. Every particle of it being love. And when I come out here, my mind is affected by this love, and I love everybody. And I can confidently say, I love you to bits, because that's how I feel. But that's how I feel all the time. And this is enlightenment. So this is what's beyond the mind. Most people are imprisoned in the mind, thinking that they are the mind and the body. That's common knowledge. But it's not the truth. The truth is we are way, way, way more than that. We are pure beingness, pure consciousness, pure awareness, and we are always here, but we're not aware of it. Someone who's enlightened is aware of it every moment. Some people have glimpses of it, which are called satori's, and they get a taste of what it is. But for me, I've been existing as this now for 26 years. Two worlds, your world and the world of reality.
And so, which one do you find it? No, actually, how would you describe reality then?
The problem with describing reality is that it has no reference points, and our mind only comprehends things that are described within reference points. And beingness has no reference points. Everything has no reference points, and nothing has no reference points. Yet that's what I experience in this moment, everything and nothing. And my mind is absolutely at peace resting in that, profoundly content for no reason.
Right. How can we, people that have not experienced enlightenment, at least go or find it or find the path towards it? How can we do it? How can we be
Well, you find,
enlightened?
so if you wanted to get out, say you were lost in a jungle and you wanted to get out, and there was a couple of guides, and one knew the way out and one didn't know the way out, which one would you choose? You'd choose the one that knows the way out. And so since I was 28, I've been with people who knew the way out, enlightened masters. And I followed their instruction and I got out. To me, that's my experience and that's the best way.
Right.
Trying to do it yourself is difficult because you as a mind are a survival mechanism, and this is about going beyond the mind, which in a way is a death of the I. And the I, being a survival mechanism, isn't that interested in dying.
Right.
So it's difficult.
And so, I'm always curious, what percentage of what actually is our senses perceive?
Very little. So, for instance, say we've got people in the room here now, and we've got you, and I've got people outside this room, and I can feel all of them. And I'm reading all of them energetically. And we can all do that if we shut our mind up for a while, because everybody is putting out energy all the time, and that energy can be read. So nobody can fool me. I can tell when someone's happy or sad or angry or disappointed because I feel it as though I'm feeling it in myself. That sensitivity I've had most of my life. That's the quality of an empath, someone who can feel others and know what that feeling means. And when I worked as a naturopath and psychotherapist, I used that ability to diagnose and to treat people. And before that, as a businessman, I used it to win at business.
It's amazing. I'm very so my intention with this film is to well, I feel that it is mostly addressed to the materialistic mind-oriented human beings, which I think most of us are like that.
Yeah.
And I here, especially in Romania, I haven't been to many places, but we don't have gurus. We don't. have anyone here talking about this. So it's really rare. My family sees me as very weird. And I feel that yet I don't really care what they think. And I wish to address uh how can I say it? I wish to make it more simple. How can we connect to who we truly are?
Yeah, that was a good question. But I have another story for you, because you said that most of the people are materialistic, which means they're interested in success and the accumulation of wealth.
Right.
And I did that, and I was very successful at it. I actually retired when I was very young, because I had replaced myself in my business and I was earning millions of dollars. I was a success story who came from nothing and became so successful I retired within 4 years of starting my company.
Wow.
So when we talk about manifesting, that is something I do know about.
Right.
I manifested success, and I retired when I was about 28. And when I was about 34, which was a little bit later, I decided to give it all to actually 33, I decided to give it all to my staff. Every 14 offices full of furniture. I gave away all my company to my staff because I didn't want to sell it, because they'd been with me for 10 years and I didn't want them to get into trouble with new owners. So I gave them my companies and I walked out broke, took my shoes off and walked around Australia for 4 years in search of my heart, which I'd lost as a businessman, because I'd recognized that the most valuable thing here isn't money, isn't property, it's love. And I was bankrupt. Even though I was financially wealthy, I knew I was bankrupt because I didn't have any of this.
Does this apply to everyone? Do you feel that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. All my friends were successful businessmen. They haven't stopped. They can't stop because they're programmed to keep going. Even though they're wealthy, they can't stop. They're programmed to keep going. We're all programmed to do what we do. We might think we can get out, but it's a bit difficult to get out of programming that has become default programming.
And is it wrong to stay in it?
Nothing's wrong, nothing's right. But if you want to find happiness, you've got to find love, because love makes us happy. It is the thing that really, really makes us happy. And it's the thing we don't get taught about at school. The same as we don't get taught about how to be happy at school. We get taught how to be efficient little machines to be successful in the material world. That's it. The things that we really want, happiness and love, we don't get taught about.
Yes. And I feel it applies. I feel that in my life, my biggest teachers have been my children
Yeah.
on patience. I was programmed, well, my family, my mother especially, is quite unhappy, very unhappy. And with my first child and so on, something in me awakened with every child, and I found more peace and more love and more acceptance. And I feel that actually this is how I've been blessed to feel happiness and joy and love through
Yep.
my children.
Yep. Because you have something to love. You have something to be open to. And that openness allows you to experience love. Openness is the
Yeah.
key. That is the key. You see, if you're closed or defended, you can't perceive love. It's only when you're open that you can perceive it. And it's easy to do with babies because they can't harm us. So we can be wide open with them and love them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yet, I still have so many questions in regards to what actually is true, because I have this mind that keeps telling me, and everyone, if you're staying and you're not doing things, you're not really useful on this planet, And there's something in me saying, well, how about if I gather more people that actually have experienced the truth, not from reading? I know and I feel that wisdom is beyond the words. Yet, if we could withdraw somehow the knowledge from that wisdom and apply it and make it more accessible to people, this is what I wish to share in this uh, film. And
Well,
so
that's our mission also.
that's
Our
amazing.
mission is to spread the Dharma, and the Dharma is about truth. It's about what will set you free. That's what we do. That's what I do.
Yeah. And this is why I resonated so much with your teachings and your book. I really felt I was so happy that you accepted. And I have so many questions. You know, as I said, the title of the documentary is I Am the Key. So when you or anyone, every religion mentions the I am that I am, but what does it represent to you? What does it mean?
Okay, so there is a problem with that because when Ramana Maharshi said, I am that I am, and Nisargadatta said, I am that I am, they were talking about beingness, not the mind or body. And sometimes people make the mistake of thinking they were talking about the mind and body because most people identify with being a mind and a body. But Nisargadatta and Ramana Maharshi were actually talking about beingness. I am that I am. Beingness. There's not much you can say about it, but they said that. Sometimes it is in Advaita Vedanta terms, it's referred to as I am that. That can't be described, basically. But that has nothing to do with the mind or the body. It's beyond.
Yet, is there any dormant or any power that resides within the human being that can be awakened somehow to serve?
Yes, there is. It's the heart. Before awakening occurred 26 years ago, I was serving heart. As a naturopath and psychotherapist, I was serving heart and helping people. That was my life. And raising a family. That was my life. I was in love with humanity and I was doing things that I loved to do, helping people. Yes, that is dormant in all human beings because most human beings are too closed, too defended to experience a great deal of love. That is the dormant power that is in all human beings. But how many human beings are willing to be open in a material world that hurts you? Only the brave ones.
And do you, how how does one how does one end suffering? Just how does one end
Good
suffering?
question. By not resisting life. By accepting life as it is, suffering ceases. It is only in the resistance of what is that we suffer. You contemplate that and you'll see it's true. It is only in the resistance of what is that we create suffering for ourselves. And we do create it for ourselves. We might have physical pain, but pain isn't suffering. The resistance to pain is suffering. You have a look.
Where does this resistance come from?
The mind. Yeah. The mind is programmed to survive by resisting. Unfortunately, that very survival mechanism creates a suffering in us by resisting life, by not accepting life as it is. If we accept life as it is, if we accept everything as it is, suffering ceases. Yeah. And people say, well, if I accept life as it is, I won't change anything. I won't be able to. Rubbish, of course you can. But you'll be doing it from a wide open space instead of a closed space.
Right. And
Yeah.
mentioned previously that you know quite some things about manifestation. Do you think that manifestation is misunderstood on this planet?
Well, most people manifest their fears because they're putting out their fears and they're putting it out in a strong way and they're putting it out continuously, and that's how manifestation works. So most people manifest their failures through their fears.
Right.
To
Right.
truly manifest anything in life, you have to have a single pointed mind that keeps that object in focus and that desire in focus, and you have to back it with a certain amount of energy, and you're drawing it in then. But most people don't have the ability to do that, except with fear, because they keep being frightened, so they keep manifesting what they don't want.
So, would you say that fear is our biggest enemy?
Yes, it is. Two things: fear and hope. The terrible part about hope is on the other side of hope is fear. We hope we'll get something, we fear we won't. And so hope and fear are tied together, and they're the enemies of success.
Oh, wow. So, I never thought about it as hope being not really a good thing.
Well, that's because religions sell hope because it's all they've got. They don't have
Oh,
anything
wow.
else, so they sell hope.
But how can you be certain? Like, you have never experienced, for instance, a desire, whatever you want to experience, and you want to create it, for instance, and it you just don't know how to do it. Yet you have hope.
I don't have hope. No, no, no. I don't have any hope whatsoever. I've got to be very careful with manifesting though. Around about a year and a half ago, I wanted a Mustang, a Ford Mustang, and I went looking for them and drove a few old ones around. Decided I didn't like the old ones; I like the modern ones. I now have three Mustangs.
Oh, wow. So
You
they
got to be you got to be careful what you want, what you wish for.
you might get it a lot. Um, so, okay, so is this, so I wrote here, do you believe that the human has co-creative abilities? Like, in the sense that, um, do we really, why are we here?
Good question. I don't know the answer to that. I've been looking for the meaning of life since I've been a boy, and I have not come up with an answer yet. I've looked at all the answers all the religions have given us, and they're all bull dust. They don't hold water unless you have faith. And I have faith in nothing. I'm a non-believer. I test everything with doubt, and I lift all the rocks to see what's under them because I was a seeker. That's what seekers do. They lift all the rocks. They check everything out. Anyone who has faith in anything is lost. If we really want to know, we have to check things out. We have to find out in our own direct experience if that is true.
Oh, wow. This resonates so much with me, and I feel it's so profound. Okay, but so I would love, if it's possible, for when the time comes and you have the time necessary, if you could share from your wisdom with the people the what you believe, what you know as truth about our nature and about manifestation, or allow me to just mention about I wrote some Uh, just a second. So I have, I would love to speak about within this documentary about the nature of reality. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, planes of existence, energy, frequency, and vibration,
Yeah.
brain and heart coherence.
Yeah. Your mind is having trouble thinking.
Okay. Why do you see that?
You have a look and see. You have a look and see. There's a certain level of silence in your head. When you first started talking to me, you were capable of putting all your sentences together quite eloquently. But as time has gone by, your mind has dropped away a little bit. And you're still present with me, but your mind is more wide now. There's more space in there now, more freedom in there now.
Oh, wow.
You have a look and see.
I uh I just there's so many things to be said, and I feel that um I just don't know what to ask. There's so many things, and I've been looking forward to this conversation, and I don't know. It's just
You've never spoken to someone who's enlightened before.
no, I haven't.
Enlightened people have an energy field that they put out also, but it's an expanding energy field, and it expands the mind and it relaxes the mind. And I first come in contact with this with Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh in America, and he blew my mind as I was talking to him. And I didn't know what that was about until it made it very clear that he was actually enlightened and wasn't living as a human anymore, but living as beingness. And the energy field that was produced by his awareness being on itself was an expanding energy field, commonly called a Buddha field. And in that Buddha field, everything gets expanded.
Yes. And I feel the expansion. I feel um, I have meditated a bit, um, as much as my kids allowed. And I have experienced some interesting states of consciousness, very far from enlightenment. Um, but I don't really talk much about it because I don't feel I fully understand what it was. The presence of, let's say, um, a sacred geometric forms in the astral that I could clearly see forming in front of me. I don't know what that was. I feel though the presence of Jesus the Christ always with me,
Mm.
and the Archangel Michael.
Ah. So if you take the names away and just tune into the energy, you'll get a different understanding of it. The names, in a way, limit what you're experiencing. If you take the names away and just experience the energy, it can take you somewhere. Because the energy of Jesus Christ and the energy of Michael are real. But because we have understandings and ideas of what that means, that limits the energy. If you take away the names and just experience the energy, it takes you somewhere else.
Yes.
I worked in a Christian church for a couple of years as an exorcist, taking away the darkness in people.
Wow.
Hmm.
And how did you find that experience?
Well, basically, energy flows from full to empty. Most people are relatively full, adults that is, because they overthink. I was extremely empty because I was a meditator and I had been present most of my life, which meant I didn't live in my head. And so I was very empty. And so what was in people started to flow into me. And I joined a Filipino healer in a born again Christian church in Byron Bay, which is 5,000 kilometres from where I live. And I started healing people in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Saviour. And people would just fall backwards and they'd go into bliss and they'd cathart all this stuff out. And so I worked for the church for 2 years after the Filipino guy went back to the Philippines. That was a long time
Um,
ago.
but it's very interesting. You see, I feel that my mother has many entities around her. She is really in deep suffering, always been. And I've kind of been led to invite at some point Archangel Michael and just Jesus the Christ, and she experienced then. Well, I somehow I was guided. I have no idea how I did it. Um, she experienced happiness, but afterwards she was still miserable, and I have no
Mm.
idea why.
Is your mother mentally ill?
Yes,
Yeah. So my experience with entities is they're attracted to mentally ill people because they live off energy. Like human beings create energy through eating food. Entities that do exist still need energy to survive, and they live off the energy of suffering of human beings. And so someone who's mentally ill is attractive to entities because they are creating so much energy, suffering energy.
and is there any way out for them?
As far as I know, the only way out of being mentally ill is to get really present. Because when you're really present, you're not living in your head anymore. People who are mentally ill are living in their heads, usually quite often imagining things that aren't real.
Right.
So, present moment awareness or drugs, antipsychotics.
She does take everything, all
Mm.
the pills. I don't know why. But okay, so now that you have mentioned imagination, what
Mm.
is your opinion on imagination?
Oh, it's not real.
It's not real?
Well, it's not real. It's not real, is it? It's just a dream. Now, you can back it with energy and use it for manifesting, but in itself, it's not real. It's just imagined. People think imagination is real, but it's not. It's imagined. I don't live in imagination. I live in reality. I'm here now. I'm not thinking. As I'm talking, I'm not thinking. My mind is silent.
Yet, isn't it appropriate to create, let's say, good circumstances, happiness and healing, and send? Uh, there are many. Well, there is an author, Neville Goddard, that teaches about imagination and
Mm.
that it is power within the human as God expresses itself through humans. And uh, many times he explained that it is the tool in which one can create harmony and love and spread it towards other people, not just for himself.
What about being wide open without a thought and being in touch with love and radiating it because you're in touch with it without a thought, without any imagination whatsoever? That's my life. You see, if I have to imagine love, imagination's not real. When you love your son or daughter, your love is real. It's not imagined. I don't like this author one bit. I think he's making it up as he's going along.
He did change many lives into really good lives and hope. He stirred the hope within
Yeah,
humanity.
selling hope. Yeah, and hope is the enemy of truth.
Is it?
Well, it has fear on one side of it, the fear of not getting what you want.
Right.
You can't have hope without fear. They come as a pair. It's like a coin has two sides. Hope one side, fear the other side.
And how can you move into knowingness? Knowing.
I live in knowing.
And how can someone move in knowing that has never been in knowing?
Very difficult. And we'd have to describe what knowing to me means. Knowing to me means awareness of awareness, beingness knowing itself continuously. That knowing is called enlightenment. It's a little different.
Abstract for the mind.
It is for you. For me, it's my reality. It's not a thought structure. It's what's happening right now.
And what do you think humanity needs at this time?
Higher consciousness, because humanity is locked in lower consciousness as a result of selfishness. And what the humanity needs is higher consciousness. If we had higher consciousness, we wouldn't have wars, we wouldn't have murders, we wouldn't have rapes, we wouldn't have robberies. Because in higher consciousness, people don't do that. They only do that in lower consciousness. Higher consciousness is the only thing that's going to save this planet, nothing else, for humanity.
And what is higher consciousness?
I'm teaching it. This is what I teach. People call it spirituality. I don't call it spirituality, I call it reality. Higher consciousness is being so switched on that you see every thought that comes into your mind and you know exactly what that thought means. You know the consequences of everything you say continuously, and you know the consequences of all your actions continuously, and you know the consequences of everyone around you's actions and thoughts and words. That's higher consciousness. That is switched on. And that's what I was like as a businessman.
Well, and is it true that words, thoughts are very physical, let's say, on, let's say, the astral plane?
Thoughts
Don't people see that?
thoughts can be they can have energy put in them and they can hurt people. But basically thoughts aren't real, they're dream. And I don't deal in dream, I deal in reality. I changed my title from being a spiritual teacher to being a reality teacher because I teach reality. I'm not into smells and bells. I'm not into superstition. I'm not into rituals. I'm into what works. Pragmatic.
That's really amazing. Very, very nicely put. And wow. Um, so the thing is, like, everyone is so caught in thoughts because this is what we use all the time, thoughts
Yeah.
and feelings. And so I'm curious on, finding out how can we direct or at least go to the path on achieving more silence and stillness.
Not too thinking, that's for sure.
Right.
See, I was a meditator, but before I was a meditator, I was into extreme sports. Now, with extreme sports, if you're not present 100%, you hurt yourself and you hurt others. And so I've been into the present moment awareness of what is real my whole life. And that's probably one of the reasons I didn't like dreaming, because it took me into a place that wasn't safe. Because people who dream, for instance sake, I started martial arts when I was about 11. And if I was dreaming, I would have had the hell beaten out of me. I had to be 100% present all the time. And I did that for 14 years, every day. And if I wasn't present, I'd get beaten. So I developed this pattern of being in meditation every moment, here every moment, aware of what is real every moment. The only thing that is not real is what you think.
Okay. We have to cultivate being present,
Pretty
regardless.
much. Well, you go into any monastery or any ashram anywhere in the world, the first thing they're going to teach you is meditation, which is how to be present to what is real.
So this is, in fact, what meditation is, being present now. Not active, not passive, not creative, not...
Just present to what is real. Just present to what is real. My voice, the sound of my voice is real. The visual of me is real. What you think about me is not real.
Right. Yes. And so do you believe that if you wouldn't have had all the success and all the experiences, so you experience basically what any materialistic mind desires to have everything. Do you think would you have gone in the other direction? Basically, you had the opposites. You
I
had
did have the
everything and
opposite, but I did have the opposite. When I was a teenager, up until 19, I was a bikie. I was in a gang. I was a street hood, you know, and I swapped my studded belt and my black uniform for a three-piece suit and changed and left all my friends behind because I had intervention at the age of 19. Some people put me into an encounter group and told me the truth about me, and it changed me so much. It changed my whole life.
right. But
Yeah.
and so it's okay for people to follow, let's say, their dreams and desires and create and experience all the, let's say, abundance in all aspects, and then choose the other direction. Or is it
Well,
correct?
let's put it this way. When I was 33, I was driving a Rolls Royce. I had a 40-foot Flybridge cruiser. I had a 45-foot yacht. I had a half a dozen houses around town that I owned. And I lived in a penthouse in the most expensive suburb in Perth, West Australia. And I looked at myself and I realized that doesn't make people happy. The only thing that makes people happy is love. And I was broke because as a businessman, I'd become a war machine.
Oh, wow. That's true. I think it applies to everyone. But yet, I think one has to reach that level of understanding for himself. He can,
If you're smart, you listen to someone else because it's too hard to do by yourself.
right.
If you really, the problem is we go to school and we're expected to know the answers and we think we know and we tell people we know. But the people who really keep learning in this life are the ones who say, I don't know. They're beginners rather than people who think they know. The moment you think you know, you're stuck, you're closed. If you're okay with not knowing, you remain open and the universe pours its knowledge into you.
I, I feel that is very true. Yet I experienced many times in everywhere, and I think this is where my nervousness. My mom always said that if you don't know, just don't open your mouth. Has always said that, and so I kept that with me quite a lot, and so I just work around it. Um, but before we finish, I would really like to ask you, what do you think is the best way to raise children in a harmonious way?
With love. I homeschooled my children because I didn't want to put them into a competitive market. We're taught how to compete at school. We're taught how to beat our friends. We're not taught how to love. We're not taught the way of the heart. We're actually taught the way of the mind. And that's what's wrong with the world today. Everybody is selfish, trying to beat everybody else. And the way of the heart, which is called the noble path, is the only way that this planet is going to get saved.
Right. Thank you very much. Uh, I'm so thankful for your time. And if you will agree further on to be in the documentary and share your wisdom, I would love to continue. And I would
If
just,
if I have a condition, if you agree to me publishing this interview.
yeah, I don't mind, of course.
Great, because we've had a great talk today. I've enjoyed you and I love you to bits.
Thank you so much. I love you so much. And you helped me and guided me to open my heart to a degree I didn't experience many times.
You wait until you finish the video talk with me and check out what's in your mind. You're going to find a lot of emptiness.
And is the emptiness good?
Yes, it's good because it's no mind. It means you'll be present to reality. While our mind's full of thoughts, we're dreaming. When our mind is empty, we're with reality. And when you are 1 or 2 and 3 years old, you're with reality almost fully. And then you went to school and learned how to live in your head for 12 years, probably. And unfortunately, you've probably lived in it to a large degree ever since. Meditation, or the practice of meditation, is reclaiming reality from the dream that we've all been lost in for so long.
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome.
And have a great day.
I insist.
And talk to you hopefully soon.
You'd be very welcome. I've enjoyed talking to you very much.
I love you. And thank you so much, all the team.
They're here. They're quiet. They're in silence.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank
Goodbye.
you. Bye bye.